Next on stage we have a panel discussion this afternoon. The panel discussion is on the topic Sustainability to Sustain. The session is being moderated by a 15 years experienced person in the field of sustainability. He was a key member in the product development of an intelligent wastewater pumping system, and he is currently the regional manager for Xylem. Apart from his professional experience, he is also an expert motivational speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our opportunity to please put your hands together to welcome Mr. Fameed on stage.
Good evening. Welcome to this session, Sustainability to Sustain. When we hear about the word sustainability, what comes to our mind? Renewable fuel energy? Reducing carbon emissions? The ways to protect our environment? A variety of things runs to our mind. But we need to bring a little bit more clarity to the word sustainability. In short, sustainability, in a way, protects our environment, maintains the ecological system for us, bringing about innovation, keeping intact the environment for the future generations. Without much ado, we have today an eminent panelist who can share more light into this program, sustainability. With that, we have among us the panelists. Our first panelist, he is conferred one of the 100 global leaders of sustainability by World Sustainability Congress held in Dubai. He calls himself an environment and sustainability leader. He's been part of developing several standards and has worked at several projects in the region. Let me welcome on stage CEO of Platinum Environmental Solutions, Mr. Dilip Kumar. Sir, Mr. Dilip Kumar, please welcome on stage. When I said sustainability, Hello? Yeah. What picture came to your mind first? Was it solar panels? We have among us one of the leading experts on renewable energy distribution system design. He is known as an innovative leader and in-tech expert. Let me welcome on stage Mr. Anup Babu. Mr. Anup Babu, please welcome on stage. We are proud to have him. He's been involved with many iconic projects in Dubai. Now, is sustainability limited to, let's say, the building systems or the solar panels? Do you know the domain where the aerodynamic design took place the first and where sustainability plays a big role? It's the marine domain. In order to throw light into this area of expertise and how sustainability plays a big role, I welcome Mr. Ashik Subhani, who is Managing Director for Great Water Marine LLC. Please welcome on stage, sir. This panel discussion on sustainability to sustain is brought to you as part of Career Expo, sponsored by Skydisk, who is into HR services. Let me take to the panel and let them share with us snippets of wisdom on sustainability. Welcome to the discussion, sir.
Thank you.
So, let me start with Anup.
Okay, I'm the lucky one.
During our discussion pre-event, you said something that sustainability has to start from each person's home.
Right.
would you like to elaborate a little on that?
Definitely. So I'll just take you through my journey from a normal candidate to expert in this region. So first of all, I was born and raised in Kuwait, and I used to work with US Defense Force, wherein I used to handle the diesel generating stations for the different power generation stations for different locations in the Middle East. So that was a little concerning for me in terms of the fossil fuel impact which was having for the environment, and which eventually made me to travel back to my hometown, which is Kerala, and I started to research on renewables. Then I invested a lot of time on my house rooftop itself, so that I came out with my own plant with different combinations of panels, different combinations of inverters, and now my home is fully independent from the grid. So that's how my life started into the renewables. And from there, I came to UAE in 2014 in a visit visa, and it's been 5 years now. I have been to my place, so luckily I got involved into this different projects in this region, which is going to be bespoke projects in this region, and many people will be talking about it. So just to answer your question, as you said, it should be from within the person's behavior itself, so that they know what they're doing, rather than just go with the flow of the market. Say someone is saying, now the solar business is going very well, so let's do a business in solar. No, just don't do that. So try to understand why solar or why renewables, and why it need to be, why that involvement into the sector is really needed for saving the environment. Because as we all know, all of us, we spend almost 90% of our time inside this artificial environment, that is the air conditions, the energy consumptions which are involved, so which is taking a long journey for us to reduce the impact which is already there in the environment. So that's the feedback to the question which you have. So start from your own behavior first, and then you do it yourself, then go do the do the trial run in the market.
Great. So sustainability starts from our own home.
Right.
Sir, Ashik, when we discussed about sustainability, we always think about certain terms like solar panels. Now, can we understand a little bit more, how does sustainability is a big factor in your domain, the marine industry or the shipbuilding industry?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a very vast subject, sustainability in offshore oil and gas side. As you rightly highlighted at first, sustainability development is far more than environment, right? It enables the human being or the earth actually. That what it does is enables the human beings to have a healthy and sound environment and sound living atmosphere. And to have the earth habitable for the human being, ocean is actually doing a lot. So in a way, if you look at the ocean's temperature, the current, tidal variations, the chemistry of the ocean, it all makes the earth, the variations and changes in the ocean makes the earth habitable for the human beings. If you look at the rainwater, drinking water, the weather conditions, climatic conditions, the oxygen level, the fisheries which we are having, the economic development, about 5% growth of GDP, it's again from the ocean. More than that, the transportation through the ocean, the ships. So it's all having direct or indirect effect and implication on our lively segment in the earth. So ocean is extremely important, and sustainable development in the ocean, it is extremely development. So again, you can link that with the marine. So regulations from the marine, it's very much necessary to have the sustainable development. Regulation related to seabeds, like sea mining, like we can say, deep mining we can say. Regulations should be there. Regulations on the port, regulations on the fisheries. So it's it's an ocean governance, we can say like that, ocean governance. That will vary from place to place, country to country, domain to domain. But this ocean governance, compliance, collective approach to have a proper ocean governance, it's something very much important to have a sustainable development through the ocean. So I wanted to highlight the importance of ocean governance as first of my point.
70%. With more than 70% of the world covered by ocean,
Correct.
Ocean governance is
Correct.
a key factor for
Yes.
sustainability. Great point.
Yeah.
Let me come to Mr. Dilip Kumar. Sir, what are the initiatives which are present in terms of governmental bodies in order to maintain sustainability in the building segment, and what can we do as we live in this country?
Good evening to all. I think a large portion of your question has been covered by Mr. Anup already.
Okay.
But anyway, I will add to what he said. I will supplement his some of the part. If you remove the buildings from our life, there is nothing left. We will be living in forest. We always connect buildings as part of the development. So if you remove the buildings, there is nothing. So buildings play a major role in our life. We are sitting in a building, we live in a building, we work in a building. So buildings are a major part of our life. Unless we design these buildings in a sustainable way, construct the building in a sustainable way, and operate the building in a sustainable way, we are going to waste energy. We have only one earth. We have finite resources. So once you finish off all the resources, there is nothing left. And why I am saying this, buildings consume the maximum amount of energy. If you look at the carbon emission, we always calculate sustainable development in terms of carbon emissions. If you remove the fossil fuel, the major portion of carbon emission is from the buildings only. So it's very important for us to design the building, construct the building in a sustainable way. You said about initiative. The wonderful thing what our federal government in UAE has done is building sustainability, using sustainability as a code is mandatory in most part of UAE. It's a fantastic, probably the first time in the world it has been made as a code, into the thing. So these initiatives are helping us to improve our living environment.
We are truly lucky to be in this country of UAE, where there is a lot of focus is there on the renewable energy, and we have Earth Hour, and which we celebrated as a national event.
Yeah.
Correct,
So it's kudos to this nation. So let me take you through a little differently. Now, when we say sustainability, as you rightly pointed out, it's a very broad topic. Now, if I am a young graduate, or we have a multidisciplinary people in this floor, what is your advice to them, looking at it from your
Domain.
expertise, from your domain?
To
Yeah.
me first? Oh, thank you again. Right, because the area which we focus, it's related to marine, like that's related to ships, offshore platforms, design engineering of jackets, doing the subsea studies, subsea analysis like the subsea pipes, subsea cables, things like that. So for the young graduates, like if you look at the future, we have to understand a little bit about what the sustainability as far as the ship is considered. I mean, we know all sort of ships, we can see a number of ships all around, but a sustainable ship means, I'll talk a little bit about a sustainable ship actually here, then only I can come to that actually, that point. So sustainable ship means we have to make the ship energy efficient. For that, the ship, we can do on an engineering perspective, we can actually do so many things actually. We can modify the hull form, the same hull form, modify the hull form in a better way to have a better efficiency. we can reduce all the loss. You can see that it has the engine and the shafting and the propulsion system. We can enhance the efficiency, like energy efficiency methods we can implement, like we can optimize the propeller design, we can optimize the shafting design, we can optimize the engine and the gearbox ratios. Lot of enhancement can be made to make it energy efficient. So propeller efficiency, as I said, hull form efficiency, I said. So that's actually as far as the design perspective is concerned. On the environmental perspectives, there are a lot of regulations, actually, like regulatory updates and regulatory requirement. I mean, we all know about the cars actually, which we have the exhaust, and generally the engines, when we run the ship engines, we use the heavy fuel oil, we use the marine diesel oil, low sulfur fuel we use, LNG fuel we use. But when most of the old ships, or lot of ships actually are getting used, or it's actually moving through the world with the heavy fuel. For this one, the carbon dioxide, sulfur, nitrogen, sulfur, SO2, NOx, sulfur dioxide and nitrous oxide, the emission it's quite high actually. So there are some regulations, like to enhance, to protect the environment, there are some special methodologies to be adopted to reduce the emissions. So that implementation, that rule development, it's actually happening. That's getting implemented in all the ships by 2020.
Okay.
Then like that water, like the ballast water treatment, like one port, if the vessel, like the ship, when moving from one area to another area, I mean, it has to be loaded. Like if it cannot just move in the light ship condition. Light ship condition means unloaded vessel just cannot go like that. So we have to add some ballast water sometimes based on the design capability of the vessel. We have to add some ballast water. Again, if you take ballast water from one port to the other, again this port, that water may have some bacteria and fungus, and that could be something related to the ecology system, I mean the ecosystem of that particular area. It cannot actually move from one location to the other. There are some regulations actually even for that, like that for the leakage, spillage and leakage, sewage treatment aspects, all around, like, I mean, several segments, there are enhancements and sustainability development requirements, and this implementation has to be there. So what I'm pointing is, I mean, the people who are interested, we have to focus, like the new engineers who wanted to come to this field, they should really study well what advanced technologies are coming into the future. It's not only on the sustainable aspects. It's before that, I mean, 10-15, I mean, 1 hour back we had another session on big data. Digitalization, it's another very widely discussed segment which is coming up. Like down the year, after 10-15 years, the ships will be operated fully digitalized. I mean, without the crew, ships should be able to operate. A lot of prototype ships are also in place, like the vessels are already in, like completely digitally, I mean, fully monitored by remotely operated vessels are there. So if you go to the bridge of the ship, there are so many components, so many gears actually to manage the ship. That scenario is changing. We are on the touchpad, which I mean, you're also mentioning about that era.
Yeah.
Now if you go to the bridge of the ship, everything is touch screen. So that development is coming. So I mean, what I wanted to highlight is people wanted to enter into the field, look at the future. I mean, what's happening, and it's a very good field. There are a lot of opportunities related to the ship design, offshore design, subsea designs, offshore platform areas, decommissioning segment, and along with that sustainability is also important. So look at the advanced development in sustainability as well as innovations on digitalization and technology. Focus that and enter into this field, and definitely it will be a great success in my views. There is a lot of developments and a lot of opportunities coming up.
Anu, what do we look into?
Yeah, in my perspective, as we discussed just half an hour before, now before that, can I ask some questions to the audience? So, how many of you in this whole group is having experience in solar sector? Anyone from solar sector? Okay, we have 1, 2, and 3. Yes. And how many of you have implemented solar plants, or how many of you have installed solar panels on your rooftop? Okay, so we have 2, 3, 4. Yes. So when we go deeper, you know, the intention of having the solar panels on the rooftop is to offset the amount of money which we spend for the utility which we have. So we can take it in two perspectives. So that's the same when we talk about the job. So do you really want to get into this sector on a monetary benefit, or as per the market, you know, the mouths which we have, that this sector is booming up, so let's send our kids to have some training done in the same sector and get the job in that sector? Or are you really passionate about doing what you are really doing? That implies for any job. That implies for any job. So any students whoever I meet, you know, they always ask for guidance for getting into the sector. So I tell them, you go ask Google what exactly the solar is all about, get the insight of what exactly is you know, implemented all around the world, try to understand what it is, and if you see that it is good enough to get into the sector, please go ahead. I came into this sector I came into this region in 2014, and now at least I have almost 10 projects spread across the whole 7 Emirates, wherein every Emirates are having different regulations. So I had intensive trainings on the technology aspect plus the regulations, as Mr. Dilip was mentioning. So there are different regulations for different Emirates. So we need to know whether your career which you're going to put your hands on is really what you really want to do. If it is not, please don't go for it. For example, a prospective candidate who would like to get into the sector would go on a online site which I really recommend, Udemy, which you have very feasible training courses for $10 or $15, where you know the basics of what exactly the solar is all about, and then you understand. And if you find it is not your cup of tea, please don't go for it, or just don't go with the market trend, or since the people are talking about it, please don't go for it. That's the advice which I would give to any candidate.
Dilip sir.
See, sustainable development, as we already discussed, is a very, very broad area. Actually, everything comes under sustainable development. You can connect sustainable development to any industry.
Okay.
Honestly speaking, all the businesses in the future is going to have the sustainable development at the front end. It's going to be there. I would like to add a couple of information here. United Nations in 2016 adopted 17 goals, 17 goals towards reaching a good sustainable development target for 2030. That is for 15 years period. They have given a target on 17 different goals. It starts from eradication of poverty to well-being, sustainable cities, sustainable development on communities, clean energy, so many, 17 goals. Now, this initiative is collectively taken by all the governments together. Here, it is good to add here, UAE is one of the first countries to adopt it and implementing it in our country.
Yeah.
So this is a very good initiative happening already here in UAE. Like this, so many countries have taken all these 17 goals, are trying to implement and creating opportunities in every industry. Now, why I explain this? This shows what is going to be the future. There is going to be an opportunity for every engineer. If you are a mechanical engineer, you cannot obviously do electrical engineering work, and vice versa. Whereas a mechanical engineer can contribute in sustainable industry. Electrical engineer can contribute. Everyone can contribute, can make a profession out of it. That's the beauty of this industry.
Great.
Even if you are not an engineer, you can always get into CSR, corporate social responsibility, which again addresses sustainable development. So the job opportunities in the future is going to be huge. Now, if you see, Mr. Anup was telling about renewable energy. He was talking about fossil fuel. Now, what after fossil fuels? Fossil fuel is a finite source. It's not an infinite source. Obviously, you need better technologies which will replace fossil fuels. This again is sustainable development. So, Transportation. Transportation is again connected with fossil fuel. We are talking about autonomous vehicle, semi-autonomous vehicle. Why I'm explaining this, you talk about any technology. Technology is only a tool, it is not a goal. Unless you add a goal like sustainable development, it cannot add value. So this itself shows you the scope of sustainable development in the future.
Great message. Sustainability is a goal. The path could be different, multidisciplinary. We come in together and to realize a common goal.
Absolutely.
Great. So, let me take you to the other side of it. Now, there are entrepreneurs who looks towards direction of innovation in the field of sustainability. Now, to which direction should we look in order to understand where is the innovation coming in your industries? Like, is there some websites? Is there some new areas which is coming up where we should be interested or we should look into, keep track of?
I'll start here.
Yeah, you can.
Okay. Marine offshore side is considered, there are a lot of regulations, like if you look at International Maritime Organization is there. Under IMO, there are International Association of Classification Societies, like a little bit brief about the regulatory side also. Like a lot of classification societies are there, like American Bureau of Shipping, Bureau Veritas, Lloyd's Register, DNV, Indian Register of Shippings, UAE we have TASNIF. So all these regulations, they have R&D divisions and they have a lot of innovation sites actually based on what's happening in the shipping sector, based on what's happening in the offshore segment. So this R&D, they are actually doing that, and you'll get a lot of informations from all these websites actually. IMO website, or if you look at the classification like ABS, LR, DNV, Bureau Veritas, TASNIF, so on all these areas which we will get, informations are available. But the focus nowadays, if you look at the ships actually, adaptable vessels actually, adaptability, more adaptability is, it's very much necessary to sell a ship. Like, UAE being an oil enriched area, a lot of oil wells are there.
Yep.
So well stimulation, the well at certain points, they have to do some stimulations to enhance the well to have the right productivity, to keep the productivity upcoming and running the same as usual. So there are separate vessels which is called well stimulation vessels, which we are doing a conversion at the moment. But if a vessel just made for well stimulation alone, it will not work. It should be used for other purposes also, like maybe for anchor handling, offshore support, diving support, other offshore transportation aspects. It should be like maybe some offshore accommodation support. So the vessels, like whatever we are making nowadays, it's more adaptable, complying the sustainability aspects and the modernized requirements also. This is where all this lot of researchers are actually focusing, orienting in that stage. It's in marine, offshore, oil and gas, all segment. Adaptability is one of the key word which is getting discussed very high.
Adaptability. Like,
the question was
like,
about
if I want to start a new business, where should I look into in terms of innovation in, let's say, renewable energy?
Yeah, as I told you, I came to this region with an intention of having, starting a new company.
Yeah.
But I eventually understood that this situation or the market situation has been utilized by many manufacturers or many consortiums in a way that they utilize the lack of know-how of the people to make money. So I held back and I thought, I should stick on to my consultancy sector itself. So that's how I work with Intech, where we are headquartered in Germany, and we do advisory consultancy for all the projects in this, so many projects in this region. So I'm so proud to say that, we have one project which is one of the largest solar rooftop project in one of the upcoming malls in Sharjah, and almost a couple of projects in Dubai as well, which I'm not supposed to say the names. So to start the business, in fact, don't go, again, back to the second question which you asked, don't go with the market trend, or if someone told you that this market is going to be good, please don't go and do that business unless or otherwise you know how to, or how your passion is all about in doing that business. So now what I'm gaining from the market is I'm trying to understand what exactly the market intelligence, how the market is performing, how the the manufacturers, the installers, the contractors, or different consultancies, or no matter what. So once we have that kind of experience through different resources like online, as I told you before, whatever you want, just Google it, you get it. So go, and even books, read a lot of upcoming the publications, which, for example, SIVA, they have the efficiology department, which is very proactive into having the efficiency of the buildings to be improved. So there are lots of publications from their side as well. So go through government publish articles and different books and online media to understand how the market is all about, and keep yourself updated. And if you are meant to do it, do it. Otherwise, please don't get into the business, because it's a quite new market. People are getting to know about it. But the Europe and other parts, it's already saturated. So all the players from there is trying to migrate to this place to utilize plus make a difference in this market as well.
With reference,
Again, sustainable development is a big industry.
big industry.
So I feel there is an opportunity for everyone.
Everyone. So
I can divide that broadly into two segments. One is consultancy, other one is products. If you look at consultancy, I'll talk about products first. Recently, we developed our own office. We wanted to make it very sustainable, so we were looking for every aspect of design, construction, and everything. So I was in particular looking for one product, which is a sustainable product. Interestingly, it was available only with one person in the entire UAE, and he decides the price.
okay.
Now, this itself gives you an idea
Yeah. So
that there is a huge demand for the sustainable products in the market all across the globe. I can tell you, not only in Middle East, all across the globe, but in specific Middle East. So for sustainable, see, product is, I'm not talking only about buildings, I'm talking about general products. Everyone tries to sell with a tag, it's a green product.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone sells it with a green product. But you should be aware of what you are buying. Now, coming to the entrepreneur part of it, I would say first you should know your strength.
Yes.
Understand your strength. Are you capable enough to sell? Second, market research and analysis.
Yes.
Where do you stand? Does your strength helps you to get into the product or consultancy you are trying to get into? If it doesn't match, look alternative business. That's what I feel.
Great. Good to know regarding the sustainability factor. I think it would be good that if we can take a few questions from the floor. Maybe 3 questions, I think, if the time permits. Okay. So I think we do not have the time permitted as of now. I think it's been a pleasure to hear a vast amount of experience on the sustainability factor. I think it's very clear that it's a goal, and we have to strive starting from home, multidisciplinary, focus on the goal and work towards a greater future so that we can have a better world for our next generation. I think, thank you. Thank you so much for being part of this panel.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Thanks
much.
for the-
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the panel. Thank you very much, gentlemen.